is certainly something they say. I love after work where we are just talking about money and all that, or else sitting there in a loafer and, and to come and just chop an onion or cut a tomato or something is such a pleasure. But I think this pleasure of sitting together around the table is something that we mustn't lose, because that's the way you connect and especially a family with children. Well, there are a few things that I adore from Egypt but nobody else likes. But my children like melocheia. It's an Egyptian soup. But what we do all the time is a cake that became our family cake that we always did for birthdays. And we still feel we've got to do it.
Kari chawal.
Okay.
That is one thing that I grew up with, always loved, and I can still eat today.
A way of recording my culture, my heritage from a world that vanished. Because I come from Egypt, and Egypt at that time, in my time, was a cosmopolitan, a country with many minorities, and French was the lingua franca, and I was part of the Jewish community. And in 1956 there was the Suez War, and the Jews had to leave after that. And so they left en masse, all of a sudden, within days, and they spread out all over the world. And for a while I was inundated by all these people leaving. At that time I realized how important our recipes were, but we weren't just Egyptian Jews. Some families had come from Aleppo, they had come from Turkey. 3 of my grandparents came from Aleppo, so we had Syrian food and also Turkish food because...
When I started writing about Indian cuisine, I didn't know too much about Indian cuisine. I knew about the food of Delhi, so my very first book, An Invitation to Indian Cooking, is really about the cooking of Delhi, which is all I knew. And I have slowly, because I was interested about India, and I realized it's endless. There's so much to Indian food. Even if you go to one state like Bengal, there's so many parts of Bengal. And I've taught myself about Indian food, and I feel other people might be interested too. I'm learning, maybe I can tell them about it. I think more along those lines than teaching the world. I never set out to teach anyone anything. I just set out to write something that I found interesting and I was learning. And I thought, well, let me just see if other people are interested. Parts of India I've been traveling lately. I've been a lot in the south, and I found some great food at home. Great food in Karnataka, in Hyderabad, Andhra, what used to be Andhra, different parts of it. I went from one end of the Andhra to the other. I was in southern Karnataka, Coorg, I knew nothing about it. I found that's all there still. I try all kinds of food. I try the new foods that people are making that are more fusion sort of foods. But a dish is not satisfying to me generally if it has no solidity and tradition behind it. I happen to love foods that are more traditional. But if you make me a fusion dish that is very good, I will eat it with great enjoyment. But I'm drawn to dishes that are generally traditional. They have the weight of something in them. I like Japanese food, I like Thai food, I like Vietnamese food, I like Burmese food, I like Chinese food, I like Italian food, I like Greek food, French food. I mean, there are many, many cuisines that I love, and I can be satisfied with any of them. But I grew up in Delhi, so I was born with eating northern Indian, especially Delhi food, which is particular to my community, and which is the caste community. So I have a real weakness for that food, but I eat everything. I eat everything. I can eat chorchi.
Right. Our internet.
I resent it because then people are not buying my book. They're finding my recipes online.
On the internet. So how relevant are cookbooks, you think? I mean, do you
To
think
me, they're
that
very important. I mean, I've written so many of them, and I want them to live in food and healing. The subject is
healing.
the healing properties
Yeah.
of
So it's more on spices or
everything. And I'm doing traditional home things, the things we learned from our grandmothers and our mothers, not the Ayurvedic texts. That's not my interest. I'm really into what the home environment is as far as healing. Your mother will, if you have a cold, what will she give you? If you have, the traditional dishes.
ingredients like
I don't have advice.
advice?
No, I don't give advice. People know what they like and they'll do what they want. I just want them to just widen their horizons and not forget where they came from and the foods they grew up with.
That is also another interesting thing. We were
I
used
don't see why we should move away. Because people say coconut oil is bad, then suddenly it's in fashion.
to. Correct.
So forget it. People still live long lives eating mustard oil. I wouldn't change anything.
Well, but it was a taboo to talk about food. People were embarrassed if I said that I was collecting recipes, or when I started deciding to make it into a book and I told people I'm writing a cookbook, people would look embarrassed thinking, God, can I move, not talk to her again? They were embarrassed about what to say, that it wasn't a subject. And it was in publishing, the lowest kind of thing that you could be doing was recipe writing or cookbook writing. Of course, now it's the biggest thing. It's the hottest subject. And everybody now talks about food.